So General, in the media, we hear a lot about the South African National Defence Force not having equipment, but we're sending our equipment to go and help other countries while there is nothing here to help us.
Well, no, thanks. Once more, maybe it's a question that we really need to isolate and put context to it. First and foremost, South Africa, the South African National Defence Force and the taxpayers of our own country, today, there's a feel good that our freedom we enjoy, it's because in the neighborhood, there's silence, there's peace, there's prosperity. Now, the spin-off to us at home is we have a better economic development, and let's address the issue as to why would we have our equipment being employed outside the country. And I wish to state this. There is a balance here. South Africa have deployed troops in a peacekeeping mode, not in a war-fighting mode. And the deployment that are with UN, all of those deployment, there are remittances that have been brought home. National Treasury always say that we've paid so much amount because of our helicopters, our troops. Each quarter, South Africa get paid about 3 to 4,000 million US dollars each quarter. And we've got contracts in a form of letters of assist for our helicopters that are employed in the UN. And the United Nations, for each deployment of one troop, it paid the country 1,438 US dollars. Therefore, all of these deployment have got a semblance of assisting the fiscus to be able to deal, to trickle down on the social challenges that we have in the country. Internally, we've got an obligation to safeguard our territorial integrity. It is a vital interest to us. We've deployed a number of people, our troops with equipment. And South Africa has always, in the South African National Defence Force, we've always maintained a comprehensive defence capability. We do have the capability to protect South Africa against any external deployment, despite the obligations which we have. And equally, internally, we do have the capability. We've maintained a comprehensive capability to safeguard the domestic situation and the territorial integrity of our own country. I think GOC may be able to take this to its logical conclusion.
No, I'm good.
You're good, General. I like that you are bringing it home, and I want us to move away from this. And I'm glad that you heard it here first. We promised you that you will get the insights of the South African National Defence Force, and we have the best that could explain what is going on in DRC, the situation, and all those questions that the citizens have been having. And I'm glad General Sizani has covered them all. And I hope that there's some clarity. But let's bring it home. What opportunities are there actually in terms of multinational training, military training in SADC, internationally? Can you speak us through those programs?
Firstly, let me speak about the opportunities, and Prof. General Sizani can speak about the different exercises. We are currently involved in a number of exercises with a host number of countries, both in the BRICS, in Europe, in Asia, you can name it, including your US, Brazil, China, Russia, Argentina. It's a number of countries. Now, why do you engage with so many countries? One is about that you want to benchmark your skills with other countries because you want to test your level of competency, your level of skills. You want to test the level of knowledge with other countries as well. But it is not just only a one-sided benefit. Remember, they also benefit from us. It also gives us an opportunity to have what you call interoperational ability with other countries. In an event, you have to operate with them in peacekeeping missions, etc. But what is good, and this also comes, I think, from the country's diplomatic state, in a sense that why would a lot of countries, including your superpowers, want to have exercises with South Africa compared to, without necessarily mentioning other countries? One would, for example, say that with South Africa has been involved in a number of peacekeeping operations, which General Sizani has mentioned. And when people see how you conduct operations, they have an interest actually to learn from you and also to share their skills as well. And in a way, you'd know that if you are doing an exercise with other countries, it's not just only the members of the defense force that are benefiting, but the country benefits as well. Because if a country brings just only 1,000 members to South Africa to do an exercise, I mean, they bring a foreign currency. That is one. Two is that if you do exercises with other countries, it also provides an opportunity for the defense industry, to showcase in terms of what do they have for their capabilities, which if these countries have got an interest, they would actually export them. Yeah, I think maybe General Sizani will add on it.
No, thanks, ma'am. In the main, the Joint Interdepartmental Interagency Multinational Exercise, by its core in JIM, it brings to the fore of the pedigree of South Africa as a magnet, to other countries, to exchange skills, to share experiences, but to also ensure that we, in the future, we might be able to operate together. You'll realize that South Africa is buttressed by is it two oceans, the Indian Ocean and the Atlantic Ocean, and the Southern Oceans too. We in the Navy, the South African Navy, have got an international obligation for hydrographic survey. It therefore makes it opportune when our SA Navy is operating with other navies, to advance that goal, because it's an international obligation. But from the military diplomacy point of view or defense diplomacy point of view, our men and women, when they operate with these countries, they show the best the country can offer. And many of the countries from all four corners of the world are engaged in a number of these exercises with our troops. We can safely make mention of the fact that as we speak, we have our planners at joint operations who have been conducting a number of joint planning with the other international countries for exercises. I will mention just three in the main. We just completed IPSAMA exercise in Cape Town, India, Brazil, South Africa, all joined at the hip to ensure that they guarantor, the safety of our seas, and that exercise we did it very splendid. And currently, the current planning, it is we begin early this year with the joint planning with the Chinese and the Russian colleagues for exercise MOSI 3. And we recently were involved in planning in China, and all those plans are underway. We further engage in the planning with our American colleagues and the Exercise Shared Accord. And Exercise Shared Accord planning, the next other phases of planning are underway. One exercise we would have begun planning in preparation for next year. It's our exercise with the Germans, Exercise Good Hope. We ran one last year in Cape Town, and it was a success. And a number of other exercises, that we do with the countries of the South, the countries of the Southern Hemisphere, India, Brazil, Argentina, and Uruguay. I'm talking about exercise Atlas Sur, But let me bring it home. What are the spin-off to other interdepartmental
General,
organizations?
before you get there,
Thanks.
how are we faring with our international counterparts in terms of technology, the training we get here at home? How are we doing against these other countries?
Well, thanks, ma'am. Thanks, ma'am. I'll structure this into two ways. Our training in terms of, as a war-fighting country, we are renowned. Our troops, even the fights in DRC, January 23, 4, 5, South Africa troops are still standing. We fare extremely high in terms of our training. Our training is been seen also when we send students to go and study in other countries. We've done pretty well. Our planners also in the rest of other organizations in the United Nations, you will realize that we had our own seconded officers who are operating at the pinnacle of the international community. Colonel Block, she's one of them, and she is against the 194 countries officers at the pinnacle of the of United Nations. We had our officers at AU, and and in all other spheres, South Africa comes top. Now, in terms of the technological parity, first we are a Southern Hemisphere country. We are the country of the South. Therefore, like all the countries of the South, the technological parity, it is on what we call it the North-South periphery issue. However, in Africa, we are the leaders in many facets of technology. We've got the defense industry that is competitive to the world, and none in Africa. And we are the only country with a matured industry. As a result, the spin-off of those technological systems, SANDF, it is one. Now, SANDF, in all facets, as we project ourselves for the future, we plan for operations in the future. We also look at the future technologies to enhance our operational effectiveness. From borderline, you might be well aware that we've in the couple of years begin to talk about the technology optimization to ensure that we conduct borderline in manners that technology enhances us. So the parity between us in the rest of the continent, we are very competitive. However, there's a room for improvement on our part. We've seen with our deployment in MONUSCO, we've seen with our deployment under the Summit DRC that we need to do a bit of a catch-up, but we are there with other forces of the world. Thanks.
Thank you, General, so much. I love the transparency and honesty that is happening here, and we fare very well with the international counterparts of in the military. So my interest is, let's bring it back home. Our people need to know border management. How are we making sure that our borders are not porous and that they are safe for the citizens here, that we make sure that we won't get attacked by the people that we don't need here? And what is the role that you are playing there? And if you can also just distinguish the difference with the departments that you are also involved in.
I'm not sure where to start, but probably I should say that maybe why are we doing border safeguarding? I think I'll take it from there. Kidolo, you'd know by now, I think a few years ago, I'm not exactly sure in terms of the statistics, it was said that in South Africa there's more than 20 million illegal immigrants. If I'm wrong, I'll be corrected. And when you say illegal immigrants, where do they come from? They're all coming through the borders of South Africa, meaning that they are coming through on entries where we cannot cover as the defense force, and then they find themselves into the cities of South Africa. So that is one. So if you have got more than 20 illegal immigrants that are here, who are already, you'd know by now, that they are in competition with the South Africans in terms of employment, with the high rate of employment that we have. That is one part of it. Besides that, there's a lot of goods or contraband that is smuggled, that is through the borders, your cigarette and those other goods which is smuggled. Now, everything that is smuggled illegally, it means that we lose a tax from that it should be paid. That is one. Two is that it means that it replaces the goods that the government is actually, or the economy is producing for the country, is replaced by the illegal goods. So that is the bad part about it. Hence, you need to have a very strong border safeguarding. Are we strong? With the forces that are deployed, yes, we have a strong force that is deployed, equipped, but we are not fully deploying on all the environments of the borders. Like I mentioned, previously we have said to government that we'd like it to deploy 22 subunits, which will enable us to be able to cover all these different length and breadth of the country. And this would reduce these numbers that we are talking about. So we are currently still at 15. And the reason we are not at 22 is because government has not been able to fund the defense force for the difference between the 15 and the 22. So one would ask, how much is the country losing in terms of funding for the 22 and everything that is coming through those places that we cannot put in foot on the ground? I'll leave that one for people to discuss themselves. Now, whom do we work with? Currently, we have got the BMA that is working with us, but the BMA is only responsible for the port of entry and also for the informal settlement. Informal settlement, it is those places like the border with Swaziland. You've got people that are staying over the side of the border. They've got relatives and attending school this side. That should be the responsibility of the BMA. But it is not really currently happening. The SARS that we work with. At this stage, we have not, you know that the BMA is still new. So we have not gone to a stage where we can be to say we are balanced and we've got a good interoperational ability between us and the BMA. But that is a work in progress. Now, on the other part about the border safeguarding is about what goes out of the country. There is a lot that goes out of the country. And I think personally I would say it is not what goes out of the country, it is what it takes for them to take what goes out of the country. I mean, you know, hijackings, they don't have a rank, they don't have a level, they can hijack everybody. So lives are lost to get vehicles, particularly to be taken out of the country. So if you are able to prevent them smuggling these vehicles outside, you are going to reduce the loss of life in the country, because then you start to lose a market of where these vehicles are actually sold, that is outside of South Africa. So you say that people might say, yes, the soldiers on the borders, they don't see. There's a lot of benefit because, you know, these are the people that when everybody's sleeping, they're actually not sleeping. When people are in their umbrellas, these are the people that will be doing patrols in the rain. Whether it is cold and everybody's in their sofas and heaters, and these are the people that will be doing patrols in the cold weather. But it is for the benefit of the rest of the country.
Generals, unfortunately, this conversation has been so insightful, which is going to be beneficial for our audiences and us here in the Defense Force, because we know better now. I love that we can speak from a point of knowledge and the privilege of knowledge is everything. So just 2 seconds of parting words. What would you love for South Africa to know, and also just to retain the trust that they should have in the SANDF? 2 seconds each.
No, thank you very much. First of all, let me use this opportunity to thank the men and women who are deployed outside the borders of Africa, the veterans of the Goma Sake War, our troops in Beni, and all hinterlands of the world. And I wish to reassure the people of South Africa that us at JOPS, we ensure that they've got a combat readiness troops who ensure that our borders are safeguarded, the security of the country is safeguarded, and the threat is being warded off even before it comes to South Africa. I wish to say to all of those, let's pay homage to our men and women who are currently doing all these obligations. And we wish to reassure South Africa's joint operations that South Africans can have a peaceful sleep today, because your men and women, your sons and daughters are there in the borders, ensuring that they are safe 24/7. Thank you.
Quickly, I would say two things. The first one, I think, is a little bit of appreciation. When South Africa is in trouble, it is the soldiers that they normally tend to. If you've got the floods, it is a defense force that comes in. If you have got pandemics, when everybody has to stay at home, the defense force has to come out. The defense force builds bridges in areas where government cannot. The other part, I would say that let's take care of the insurance policy. Why do I say that? A defense force is like an insurance policy. Normally what happens is that when you start to have issues about funding, you start to cut on your funeral policies because you say that, I might not need it. But if you cut the defense funding, one day you'll need this defense force. And when you need it, it might have been overtaken with the time. So all that I'm saying, let's take care of the insurance policies. Let's not cut the funding where it matters the most. Thank you.
There you heard it, Mzansi. Take care of the insurance policies, which is the SANDF. We are so privileged to have this information, and make sure that you follow us, subscribe to our channel, and make sure that you do not miss the next episode of Defense in Focus. My name is Kibone, and it was lovely being on screen just for you. Make sure that you subscribe, share, and let's get the numbers rolling.